The dust has barely settled on the field at Levi's Stadium. The confetti from the latest Super Bowl halftime show, a culturally heavy, visually dense spectacle headlined by Bad Bunny, is still being swept away. But while the internet argues over the symbolism and the political undertones of the performance, a single Instagram story from one of the world's most polarizing figures cut through the noise like a knife. Against a stark black background, Chris Brown wrote 7 words that instantly set the timeline on fire. I think it's safe to say, they need me. The reaction was immediate. The critics descended, calling it arrogant, calling it bad timing, bringing up his past, and flooding the comments with hate. But if you strip away the outrage and look at the actual state of American entertainment, you have to ask the uncomfortable question: is he wrong? To understand Chris Brown's frustration, you have to look at the trajectory of the Super Bowl halftime show over the last decade. There has been a palpable shift. We just watched Kendrick Lamar's 2025 performance, a brilliant but heavy masterclass in lyrical warfare and social commentary. Now, we've moved to Bad Bunny in 2026, a show that was less about a party and more about a cultural statement, filled with flags and political metaphors. Somewhere along the way, the Super Bowl forgot it was supposed to be a party. Chris Brown saw this coming. Go back to 2015. Over a decade ago, a younger Chris Brown sat in interviews and said
So in a way, it's like, don't jump on the bandwagon because it's convenient. If you want to make a stand, say something about it during the process. When you go to perform, you're an artist. Do your thing. Perform and get up out of there. You don't have to be nobody's spokesperson. So it's a 50-50. But if you want to do something, don't come out there with some brothers and nah, because then we playing.
Exactly what many fans are whispering today. The Super Bowl shouldn't be a press conference. It shouldn't be a political rally. It should be based on a good performance. It should be about people enjoying themselves. He argued that for 12 minutes, the world should be allowed to just shut up and dance. That era feels like a distant memory now. We remember Bruno Mars and the Red Hot Chili Peppers jumping around with reckless abandon. We remember Katy Perry flying on a star. Those shows weren't trying to teach us a lesson. They were trying to make us feel good. And this is where the argument for Chris Brown becomes undeniable. He is the only male megastar of his generation who hasn't touched that stage. Look at the stats. We are talking about a man with over 20 years of hits. We aren't just talking about songs. We're talking about anthems that have been the soundtrack to every club, every wedding, and every gym session for 2 decades. Run It, Kiss Kiss, Forever, Loyal, No Guidance. The catalog is a monster. But it's not just about the songs, it's about the show. In an industry where performers rely heavily on backing tracks and armies of dancers to hide their lack of movement, Chris Brown is the last of a dying breed. He is the direct descendant of Michael Jackson and James Brown. When he is on stage, he doesn't need a lecture to capture the audience. He needs a beat. He flies on wires, he does backflips mid-verse, he executes choreography that would send other artists to the hospital, and he sings live while doing it. Imagine, just for a second, what that halftime show would actually look like. The stadium goes black. No speeches, no somber piano intros. The opening synth of Forever kicks in. A spotlight hits the roof, and Chris Brown dives into the stadium on a wire, spinning in the air. The energy wouldn't be heavy, it would be electric. You'd have 80,000 people screaming, not because they agree with the message, but because they are witnessing human excellence. It would be 12 minutes of unrelenting athleticism and nostalgia. The backlash to his post was predictable. The haters are always going to be the loudest voices in the room. They say he doesn't deserve the platform. They say the NFL would never take the risk. But look at the comments section under the blogs. The real people. For every negative comment, there are 5 people saying, "Actually, I'd watch that," or "He's the only one left who can really perform." There is a hunger for the return of the pop star, the larger-than-life figure who exists solely to entertain us. The Super Bowl has become a place for serious art, and that has its place. But sometimes, America just wants to have fun. Chris Brown didn't post that message because he needs the clout. He has the money, he has the fans, and he sells out arenas worldwide without the NFL's help. He posted it because he knows what he is capable of. He knows that he is sitting on the greatest halftime show that never happened. And even academics had talked about this issue.
It feels like people are yearning for a performer. And you won't get this unless you put Chris Brown on that stage. You won't. So respectfully to Bad Bunny, he has the songs, he's the biggest artist in the world, but the performance was, to me, a celebration of culture and togetherness, but it was not one of the best performances I've seen. In fact, I think Usher's performance was better than Kendrick's and better than his. This is why we get to Chris Brown. Chris Brown says, I think it's safe to say they need me. Now, I agree with Chris Brown, but it's not for the songs. Like, respectfully to Chris Brown, it's for performance. What we want to see, if we're watching the best football players of that year, the most athletically gifted guys, the guys who have, defied the odds, they have overcame the obstacles, and we're seeing them perform on the highest of levels in the most tense moment. You could only do it once. They don't run it back on the Super Bowl. If you up, it's over. We want to see the best performer, that if we put that on a stage with a mic and we put a light on him, that person's gonna make history. I'm sorry to say, there's a handful of people that even fit the bill, but this is why Chris Brown probably felt he was needed. Sorry.
So, let the critics type. Let the think pieces roll out about why he shouldn't be there. The truth remains the same. The Super Bowl needs energy. It needs magic. It needs a performance that unites people through the universal language of rhythm, rather than dividing them through politics. Chris was right. They do need him. And until they make that call, the biggest stage in the world will continue to miss out on the greatest showman of his generation. And that is why, even to date, Michael Jackson and Beyoncé's performance was one of the greatest. And this is because it was majorly about the performance, not about who will give the best political view. If you liked this video and more, subscribe, like, and share.